Now take a look at verse 27. The 10th day is a Sabbath. Also on the 10th day of the 7th month there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you. That's another sacrificial Sabbath, friend. And ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Verse 32 through 39 shows a Sabbath. Isn't that right? Pay attention to the use of the indefinite article, a. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the ninth day of the month at even. That's evening at even. From even unto even, or evening to evening, or sunset to sunset, shall ye celebrate your Sabbath. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be what? A Sabbath. And on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. Are you beginning to see what it is that was blotted out at the cross now? I hope so. When God is talking about the sacrificial Sabbath, he called it a Sabbath. But when referring to the fourth commandment Sabbath, he calls it the Sabbath, a definite article. Now, I mean, if I said, hand me a book, you would hand me any book, wouldn't you? It wouldn't matter. I just say, hand me a book. But if I said, hand me the book, it would mean that you would have to have some prior knowledge as to a particular book that I'm asking for. Otherwise, I wouldn't say, hand me the book. So it's the same thing here, friends. When God said a Sabbath, he was saying it could be any day of the week. But when he said the Sabbath, it was a specific Sabbath on a particular day of the week. The fourth commandment, Sabbath, always comes on the 7th day Sabbath, on the 7th day Saturday. That's every week. It is without variation. But all of these sacrificial Sabbath days, they could fall on any day of the week. As a matter of fact, when one did fall on a weekly Sabbath, when a feast day Sabbath fell, let's say if the Day of Atonement fell on the 7th day Saturday Sabbath, it was called a high Sabbath. Does that begin to make sense? I hope so. Friend, there should be no doubt in your mind that the sacrificial system contained meat offerings, drink offerings, new moon festivals with burnt offerings, and seven or eight sacrificial Sabbath days. Sacrificial Sabbath days. All sacrificial Sabbaths were holy and to be kept holy. I mean, this is what God said. So when Paul said that it was blotted out at the cross, this is one reason why we don't sacrifice animals anymore. And I'm sure glad of that God no longer requires that, because Jesus was the ultimate Lamb of God. He took care of all of that and nailed that to his cross. But the fourth commandment, Sabbath of the Decalogue, the perfect law of liberty, the 10 commandments, he didn't blot any of that out, friends. Because if he did blot the Sabbath part out, he also blotted out, thou shalt not commit adultery. Something to think about, huh? Now, this makes it easy for folk to confuse them with the fourth commandment, Sabbath, of Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 through 11. Colossians 2:14 through 17 said that the blotted out law was handwritten and against us. Remember? In Psalms 89:34, God is saying his covenant will he not break nor alter the thing that's going out of his lips. And here's the text. Psalms 89:34, it says, my covenant will I not break nor alter the thing that's gone out of my lips. Now, bear in mind that God will never break his covenant. Man is the one who breaks the covenant, and he's done it. And once man breaks that covenant, God is no longer bound by it. It's only valid to God when both sides keep the covenant. Does that make sense? I hope so. Let's take a look at Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. It's Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. Here's what it says. And the Lord spake all these words. See that? So God spoke the 10 commandments and wrote them on stone himself to suggest permanence. Notice that throughout the giving of the ordinances, God always told Moses to speak to the people. Moses wrote the sacrificial law in a book. Here's Deuteronomy 31:24-26. Let's notice what it says. And it came to pass, when Moses had made an end of writing the words of the law in the book, until they were finished, that Moses commanded the Levites, which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, saying, take this book of the law and put it in the side of the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, that it may be there for a what? For a witness against thee. Now you know what that means? A witness against you. That means that God put that law there to be either for you or against you. And if you break it, the law is right there, so you can't deny that he gave that law. Here it is right in your face. Here it is. You broke it. It's your fault, not my fault. People tend to blame God when judgment falls because they are being disobedient. They want to blame God for the judgment. No, God cannot render that which we do not deserve. It's impossible. Bear that in mind. This book contained the law of Ephesians 2:15, which says, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments contained in what? Ordinances. So what was blotted out? The law of commandments contained in ordinances, not the law of commandments contained on stone. In Exodus 18:20, Moses is being told to teach the people ordinances and laws. Exodus 12:43 says, this is the ordinance of the Passover. So you see, the sacrificial ceremonies were called ordinances. Each sacrificial Sabbath was to be held in its season. Leviticus 23:4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. Also Numbers 28:2. Command the children of Israel, and say unto them, my offering and my bread for my sacrifices made by fire, for a sweet savor unto me, shall ye observe to offer unto me in their due seasons. So you see, God had a season for all of these sacrificial Sabbath days, and that's exactly what he meant.